Where I was teaching, they were paying me 100K per month. And it came after a lot of demanding and crying and faking sickness. But photography rather was making me some nice money. I would make 100 in a weekend. People say oil and gas, petroleum is fancy, true, but internship. Guys would just look at our papers, they tell you put it there, And I'm a guy who doesn't want to give a damn.
Good evening, viewers. So this comes as our second episode of the People and Stories podcast. And today, so I just want to run you guys a little bit to how I happened to meet today's guest. I think it was around June 2023. I was just really scrolling through my X app, what I think by then was called Twitter. And then I landed on some post from someone randomly who was speaking about how he had shot a video. It was really like a performance video. I don't want to mention the artist, they haven't paid me for that. But I was so stunned by the fact that this person mentioned they had shot this video by just using one camera, one lens, and no light at any sort of. So I reached out to him and I asked if we could engage in some way or the other, because I think I've always felt very impressed with filmmaking as an art. But so since then, when I got in touch with him, I've seen him grow with as far as producing his first short film, and then producing another one, and another one, and then even producing one that's actually an award-winning short film. So if you're wondering, I'm talking about A One Kavuma, who is a filmmaker and then also a producer. And today we'll just really talk about his journey so far in terms of career and what's that specific thing about him that has really, for myself, I feel like brought him as somebody who is daring, courageous, and really somebody who is just bold enough to tell stories. So welcome, A One Kavuma. You love to be called A One Kavuma. Sometimes I like calling you Vieri. But welcome to the People and Stories podcast. So just to kickstart, I want to give you a very simple ice-breaking question. With your career so far, and with what you've been able to do, even before you introduce yourself, if your career was a movie, how would you name it?
Oh, what a difficult question. I always struggle with movie titles, and I think that's the hardest part of me making a film is actually finding a suitable title. I have films written, 2 scripts, but I don't have titles for them. I usually my titles are inspired by a different story, a story that is far way not connected to the film. If you watch my films, you can tell at least the last 2 films or the last 3 films, the titles are nowhere connected to the story. So I guess my life, I would call it John Wick.
Hmm.
John Wick.
So I'm
So
wondering, is that
according
John
to
Wick the fifth version of it, or?
yeah, John Wick Ugandan version. I would say when I was a kid, at the age of 8, 9, 10, I liked cars and guns so much, but I didn't have money to buy myself toy pistols and to buy myself toy cars. So I used to make toy cars myself like wire toy cars. Very many kids have done that, but I didn't get a chance to buy toy pistols way back then. But now as an adult, I'm able to afford them, and I think you've seen I have a couple of toy pistols. So I
Hmm.
think John Wick would really match because I don't like violence, but I like guns. Like I would say, I like guns, and I wanted to be a soldier as well. So I think John
Hmm.
Wick is a perfect explanation for a person who loves guns. I would say.
Well, It's interesting. You told us you love guns, and it's something that you've loved. The idea of guns and cars has interested you from childhood. But also would wonder, as just a person, who is John? This John, I mean the John Wick of Uganda. Who is a one Kavuma? Besides the fact that you loved cars and toy guns, would you maybe share with us some of the beautiful experiences or just the life story that you really had to experience as a young child, and maybe just really invite us to your childhood in general?
As a child, I was a very loved kid, I would say, because my mom is a primary teacher. She's soon retiring, so I was the school's baby. Before even I started schooling, I was going to school. And I played a lot of football when I was young until I broke my hand. Uh, the fact that my dad played football, and he he is a referee certified by FUFA, but now he's like so much of a consultant because he has grown. So I played a lot of football. But the other thing is, my dad, from the day I started seeing my dad, he was driving cars, all sizes of cars, big, small, trucks, and so on and so forth. So my love for cars came from there, and I was trying to imitate him. So I made a lot of wire cars as a kid, and I think, and I remember, I played with those toys till senior one. They had to cane me to stop playing with wire cars. Like I would, uh, senior one, you're already a grown up guy. You're around 14, but me during holidays, I had no shame in enjoying those. And it's funny that my siblings are not so much into that. At least my brother, my little brother, is so much into football that I can understand. I think he gets it from me, and I've tried so much to be supportive, and he gets it from dad, of course. But most of my time was on cars, then photography, I would say. But photography was like once in a while, because it was dad's camera, and you don't just tamper with with dad's camera just like that. So it
Yeah.
was when he was home, and he was barely home. But when he was home, he would give me a chance to touch his camera. I remember we used to shoot a lot of birds. We did a lot of bird photography, and most of my childhood photos, it is dad who shot them. So he taught me how to shoot, how to swap that film, not to expose it to light. And shooting on film is way different from digital shooting. You have to take one shot that is a masterpiece. And I wish I could do it now as a hobby, but last time I checked, the films are no longer sold. The equipment to make the photos is not available in Uganda because it doesn't make any sense. Yes. Then, as a child, I also liked drawing a lot, but my parents didn't like it, so they made me drop art in senior one. They wanted me to be an engineer. That is something they are still demanding. And I've done oil and gas and cappers at well, so I just have to go back, do a certain paper that got some issues, the paper that inspired my first short film. Then 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 it's done. But my childhood was funny. Like, was fun, I would say. Was fun. I spent a lot of time reading. As a kid, I read a lot, and I spent a lot of time at school as well. Most of my childhood memories I have at school, holiday, and when I went back home, when I went to boarding school, my grandmom from my mother's side was working at the school, so I was like a staff child. So even when I stayed in holiday, I was staying with her. When I went back home, my mom was a teacher. We were, we were on staff quarters, so my childhood was filled so much with school. And then mom used to get for me a lot of textbooks. I'm this type of kid who used to read ahead. Like I would be in P4, but I know things from P5 and P6 because I've read the textbooks from home, and there is nothing new they would teach in class. And that disturbed me a lot when I went to to A level, because my mom is a primary teacher. When I went to O level, rather, it was hard to catch up with things, because now I was studying things in real time with everyone. Until like around senior 2, when I learned to go to the library, then get a book and I read way ahead. And you can see that from what I do right now. I taught myself filmmaking as it has been in my life. Like I started watching videos, I read books, and so on. Though I'm not a big fan of reading right now. Like if I read 2 pages of a novel a day, I've really done a lot. I prefer to listen than to read. The more I did it as a kid, is the more I hated it as a grown up.
Mm.
Yep.
So you have actually said you are more like in university you studied civil engineering, if I got you right, or something to do with
It's
engineering,
oil and gas.
oil and
Oil and
gas.
gas
That
production.
actually, it's a very fancy field, and it's something that maybe when you look at people who get into it, they end up having a lot of money and blah blah, but not even only in that direction. Here is Kavuma, who is a student of oil and gas in university, but you have actually now, if I would say, cemented your way as one of the rising stars of filmmaking in Uganda or East Africa as a whole. Would you kind of create for us a scenario that kind of gave you the clarity of you want to transition from the science field of your life being into oil and gas and stepping into the world of filmmaking? How did that exactly happen and what inspired it?
Yeah. So to be specific, I knew how to take photos, but I wasn't a professional photographer. I knew how to take videos, but I wasn't like a filmmaker. And like I would edit normal things way back, even from like senior 1. Guys that have gone with me to school used to see me in computer lab editing stuff on Windows Movie Maker. Guys that have gone with me to school, like they have seen me do dope stuff in PowerPoint. Guys that started computer with me. So it was like I think it was part of me, and I liked it a lot. I used even to draw cartoons in senior 1. Like they slap someone, I'm going to draw that cartoon, and I sort of draw it on 2 papers, and then something Disney did when they were doing animations. Then I sort of flip it, and it makes motion. So you seeing the slap back and forth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I did actually the first time I discovered that I was in P4, I guess. Like when you draw this side, when it's like this, the other side it's like this. When you flap it fast, it's like a flip book, but with only 2 pages and giving you one. Yeah, I used to do it with different actions. So I think it was part of me, but I love science. To be honest, I love science. I love physics and chemistry and math, because that's what I did in A level. And I was putting my soul in oil and gas when I was at campus. My grades can tell. The turning point was when I started looking for internship. I went to every oil company in Kampala. I even recall that day. I was with a friend. We were working on foot. We went to every office, submitting our internship papers. Like we were asking for internship, and it wasn't even paid intern, and you know, we didn't get any. Guys would just look at our papers. They tell you put it there. You know, some I went to. I don't want to mention offices, but I think it's safe to mention them even. I went to. I'm forgetting the name even. I went to Unok, and they told me they had given people internships already. But I had read in the news that they were open to giving internship. But like I read it today, and I went there the following day, and they told me they were no longer offering an internship. So it was really stressing. And at a time I had a first class. At a time I was looking for internship places. Like I even, I went to campus. They made for me a document that was showing my results, stamped, and that's what I was moving with. But no one cared. No one cared about that document. It was just me with my marks. So I really felt so frustrated, and I remember going back to my hostel thinking, if it is so hard like this to get a internship, so hard to get internship that is not even paid, then what of getting a job where they have to pay you and you're supposed to even to get benefits and so on and so forth. So people say oil and gas, petroleum is fancy, true, but I've seen my colleagues that that graduated. Guys are very busy doing other things. They kept telling us that their jobs, this is the course, and of course you recall like you've done the right course. Uganda has oil, my brother, my brother. Lies, pure lies, pure lies. I will tell you. So in my VAC, senior six VAC, I looked for jobs and I had failed to get a job until mom connected me where she was teaching, and I started teaching primary. I was teaching them science and math. So addition to that, I got hands on a small Canon camera. You've seen those small digital Canons.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So I did photography on that in my senior six VAC, and I was moving school to school selling those photos, and it actually made me more money than the money I was making where I was teaching. Because where I was teaching, they were paying me 100K per month.
Wow. Which
And
year is that?
yeah, yeah, that's what they were paying me, and it came after a lot of demanding and crying and faking sickness. But photography rather was making me some nice money. I would make 100 in a weekend, and in the village making 100 when you're in a village shooting on that camera, putting in consider, I would make 100 and I have like profit 70, because I had to incur transport, I had to print, but printing is not so expensive. Then I didn't know how to edit. I had a tablet, so I would edit on my phone basically. And when I felt like this photo, because I realized the best way to make money is having a better product, like have a better quality, because I was moving to schools, and these schools like had people were taking for them photos before the students. Now I had to make sure these edits look nice. That's one. Then two, I also I also know Ugandans want big things, so I was not printing the small sizes.
Yeah.
My starting size was the A5. So a photo that is A5 is good, and when they are printing, they print on F1 and and cut. Then you have A5. Yes. So when I went back to my hostel, reflecting on what transpired, this guy is putting our papers just there, and I'm a guy who doesn't want to give a damn. So I was like, I have to really learn a skill that can employ me anytime, whereby I don't even need to submit my CV, but people just call me because it's me. And it was at a time like that transpired on like Monday, Tuesday, then on Wednesday the president closed the schools for COVID.
Oh.
So when we went for the lockdown, by then even Slim Snaps was existing, because I started Slim Snaps in 2018. I had the thought already. So I got serious in the pandemic. If there is a person who's so happy that the pandemic came, is me, because I
Yeah.
had a lot of free time. I had a lot of free time. So I would if I told my dad I was learning filmmaking, he wouldn't give me money to buy data. So I told him we are having classes online. So every day he would send me data to attend classes, but I was learning filmmaking on my own on YouTube, and starting from the very day I started learning filmmaking, that was the last day I slept in my bedroom. I shifted and started sleeping in that. I wasn't even sleeping. I started spending the night in the living room. I would spend the whole night watching videos. Then the following morning, I had to practice. But then I had a problem. I didn't have a laptop. I only had a phone. I didn't also have a camera. So what I did is I sold my phone. I saved up. I hustled money, and I bought some laptop. I still have it. Oh no, it's around. I still have it. Some old laptop. Yeah. So then I installed the software. I first installed DaVinci, but DaVinci was heavy. It wouldn't operate. Then
Yeah.
I managed to get Adobe Premiere Pro, which worked for 7 days and started asking for a for a serial number. Then I learned a technique of how you can reset it and use for 7 days, then
Oh yeah.
reset. Yeah, everyone has been there.
Mm.
So yes, by the time we went back to campus, I had fully learned because I'm a very quick learner. All that COVID time, actually, there are certain videos I made during COVID that people are seeing now and they're like, "You made this." I'm like, "You guys, I made that when I was learning." I learned Premiere Pro, I learned After Effects, I learned basics in Blender. Like, I really learned a lot. I learned basics of story structure. I learned a lot of things. So immediately after COVID, I shot my first video, which was a music video for an artist who was also a student as well. But she was a student doing performing arts. I shot it in Chambogo University. And shortly, I got employed like I had planned. I got employed in at Captured Studio. But that was like now beginning of third year. So I would work and study as well. But now the other thing that I was thinking about during COVID is, okay, if the government says you guys have started up year 2 and you are old enough, you are going to stop here, we make for you transcripts. Can we really compete with people that have been in the field for the last 30, 20 years after getting that knowledge from campus? That's because I looked at us, and truth be told, we were learning a lot of theory and there is nothing we would do. And this is what is happening. People go to campus, study, and when you bring them on ground, they can't compete with people who have learned on the job.
And okay,
So
I think it's actually from there. I'll pick it from there, and then also, just really like someone who is self-made, I would say. Uh, right now, again, being such a promising filmmaker and producer that you are, it's amazing to even know that this is a self-taught skill for you, and it's also like ridiculously amazing how you're still someone who was like a top performer in your original study line in the oil and gas. But I want us to now a little bit make that transition to your amazing work. And as I said in the beginning, I discovered you with just a video that you had made from one lens, one camera performance video. And you've said a few things here of how you transition to starting to shoot stuff. But when do you think the inception of the idea of Slim Snaps, which is your production company, started? And do you think there was a specific defining story that triggered it and you felt like, yo, I think I am ready to start making films and telling stories, and I want to have a company or a production line that will be responsible of doing this?
yeah, like I've said, I've been shooting stuff from way back. And I remember when I was in my A level at Mbogo College, I had I had a friend who is more like a brother now, Amjad. Me and him were trying to create a yearbook. You know, yearbooks are not a thing in Africa, in African
Yeah.
schools. But we were in a day school, so we would carry our phones to school. We used to take photos, and we even have a zip now. We wanted to create a memory that will never fade away with everyone. So we used to take photos, and and if you go to like to my Facebook and you look at the photos I took between 2016 and 17, you'll see that I'm with the similar people almost. But I wanted a way of labeling my photos such that when you see it, you know like a logo. So I used to write VXVV because that was the name I was going by back then. But then I realized when I write that on a photo, people don't want to post it, even if it's me who took it, because like it has my name. So it felt like it's a problem for someone to post it because it has my name. And I realized if you make a company and you give it your name, there is a way it is limited because people feel like they are dealing with a person. And photography, film, art is so subjective. People can hate something not because it's bad, but they can hate it because it's you doing it. You've seen it even in politics. So I wanted to come up with a name that is unique and strikes you the moment you hear it. So in my senior six vac around Jan, at the beginning of the year, before I thought about making film and so on, I'll be honest, I came up with the name Slim Snaps. Slim coming from me. I I had a nickname still from school, Slim Vivi. So Slim coming from there, then snaps basically photos. Yeah. So the moment I decided that I was going to make films is during COVID when I started learning about it, and then I had inspiration from Lukman. Like I saw okay even before going to to COVID, Lukman was advertising the girl in the yellow jumper, and it hadn't got so famous. Very many people didn't know about it. I had watched stuff from Lukman Ali, to be specific, and it was a great push, I would say. I had this idea all along, but I thought maybe I need to go to film school, and I just discovered I could learn it on my own on YouTube in COVID because I had a lot of time on my phone, and then I started,
Mm.
you start searching. I started searching about things like CGI, VFX, filmmaking, and then I see the softwares. These are softwares I've ever heard of. Then I see channels that are making content that is teaching people to do it. Yeah, so if I knew that earlier, I would have learned earlier because I've used the internet since I was like in P6, P7. So I just didn't know. I just didn't know. But I had this in mind that everything you are looking for is there on Google. Because I remember Googling the serious things, even names and so on. So when I Googled this and I saw it, like results driving me to YouTube, yeah, I started there. And I would say, the whole thing of starting a company started with opening up a YouTube channel around May, March, still that time of COVID, because like I saw these guys teaching, and then they inspired me the more. Like they were doing stuff, so I thought when I open my YouTube, it's going to be like how you open up your Facebook. People are going to come, subscribe, so you sort of have like a community. But it wasn't that thing. Like for months, I had 5 subscribers, one being me in my another account, and some for people I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's almost like every starter's journey with YouTube. It's not an easy thing here on YouTube, but I want to start to a little bit shift this talk to your very first short film. As I stated earlier, I think watching your journey straight off from social media, and then also really with some of these projects that you're almost taking like passion projects, shooting music videos, really just fun moments. It was already coming like to define you as a filmmaker, but I would like you to talk to us a little bit about the inspiration behind your very first short film, which I personally still feel like it's my favorite work from you. And what would you say is really like, this is what inspired me to make this short film? And is it even like is the story relative to your own personal story in general? Just take us through the journey of your first short film.
So to be honest, that is yeah, like when you watch the film, there is based on a true story. It's based on a true story, but I would give a disclaimer. I don't want to be sued after I say this. The characters in the film are fictional. Are fictional. Any likeness is fictional. Any names are just a coincidence. The film is for entertainment purposes. A lot of things there are fictional, and any likeness in names, character, and everything, that is just a coincidence. If someone looks like that in real life, that is just a coincidence. That film is a work of art, for sure. In my year three, first sem, I got over disappointed by a certain lecturer who who told me that I failed a paper, that I well knew that I can't fail because it was the paper I knew most. Like it is like someone telling me that there is a filmmaking exam and you give me an F9 in a filmmaking exam. Like it looked so ridiculous, not just to me, but even onlookers. It's like someone saying Messi is a bad player. It is an insult to Messi. It's an insult to everyone. Like it's an insult to football, I would say. So it was the same vibe that I got so pissed. I tried to talk to this guy. He was so arrogant, and I'm so glad that he's fired from his work. He was so arrogant and he never listened. And I was telling him, bro, you made a mistake because it didn't make sense in any way. I wouldn't be having 30 out of 40 from coursework and tests. You click,
Yes.
and then I failed to get something like maybe 20. I failed to get 20 out of 60 to make 50. You understand?
Yeah.
So it didn't in any way make sense. So I was stuck with it, and I kind of left him to be. And I went on to pursue my passion in film. I got a job. I stopped working at Captured. I started working with Wild. I got a nice paying job. Like I was stable. So I was like, this guy is old. Like it or not, you will either die before me or you will leave work. Then I go back and complete my course. Yeah. Then one time I was seated at work, done with editing and stuff. Then I was like, I have been doing production for some years. I call myself a filmmaker and I don't have a film. So why don't I make a film? Then I didn't even have the concept. I started talking to friends, and I got people who were interested in the film. Like they were interested in the idea of making a film. And by the time we've made this interview, one of the guys that played the lecturer, today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Anthony.
Happy
Maybe
birthday.
he'll watch this. So, yeah, so I told Anthony, I want you to play a lecturer. So he had mob hair. Right now he has mob hair. I told him, but you'll have to shave off that hair. And I personally have hair. I know how painful it is. Like if you told me to chop off my hair without my will,
Yes.
we will totally, yeah, we will become enemies day one. And he refused the first time I told him. He was like, no, bro, I'm not cutting off this hair. I have really struggled to grow it. I was like, okay, then we leave it. After days, I think he slept on it and thought about it. He had told me before that he likes acting. And yeah, he came back and told me, man, I'm willing to cut off the hair. And when he told me that, that's when I sat down and wrote the script. I'm not the best script writer, and I think that is one of my area, the areas I'm trying so much to improve. But rather, the script I wrote was what I wanted to see on screen. And watching that film now, after time, I realized there is a lot I would do make the script better or even the film better. But what I wrote is what I wanted to see and hear on screen. There is a lot I didn't know. Like we made a film just for vibes. We didn't even think people are going to watch that. Our goal was having 100 people watch that film. Basically on YouTube. If I posted that film and I got 100 people watch it, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I had tested YouTube before and I knew even getting 10 people to watch your stuff, it's way a lot of work. Like I'd been there and I had sort of lost hope. Yeah. Then I go right sit down. I wrote that script for a day. That shows how unserious, like how simple I thought it was. So I wrote what I wanted to see on screen. It was a very technical script because I'm a technical. I come from a very technical background. I described my shots, like the dialogue. I described it my way. So I gave Anthony a script. I talked to Ida. I talked to very many. I talked to very many people, and very many people looked at the script and chased it. To be honest, I went to Chambogo performing arts section, and I talked to some of the students that were doing performing arts. They looked interested, but now this is earning in here telling people that this is earning in here going to make a film with people doing performing arts.
Yeah.
So I think they didn't take me serious. I had I was supposed to have a meeting where we discussed what we were going to do. No one showed up. I told them, you guys are fired. And this is a project where I wasn't paying people. So I went on to look for people that were really passionate about what we are going to do. I looked for friends. So I got a camera. I didn't get much. I got a camera, some was it some three lenses because I had an 85, a 28, and a zoom lens. Then a mic, a boom mic, and a reflector. That's all. We did some preparation. We did some scout location of the corridors, more so outside campus. Outside campus, we did went that side of Navisunsa. Then, of course, we had to shoot the rest at Chambogo, but we were not allowed to film there. We had to sneak and film. Outside campus, it wasn't easy because in Uganda, any street you go to shoot, there is someone there asking money, even if it's not their place. There's always there asking money. There is a guy who behaves like the world rotates around them, so they don't want you to shoot, but they don't have a credible reason. They're not responsible for what you're doing there. So outside campus, that was the hassle, and I it didn't cross my mind that I should get maybe a police later. And I would also mention I didn't want to spend money. At least I wanted to spend money on things that are concerning the shoot because we were on a budget to say. Then inside campus, we were not supposed to shoot from campus. We had to wait on Sunday when campus is empty. Then we shoot inside the house, the classes. I wanted to shoot exterior shots of the campus, but it got complex. I failed to shoot them. I wanted to sneak my camera, then I shoot, when they are students to create the feel. It failed, but I didn't give up. So I went with what I had, edited it the way it was, made a poster. Actually, I made a poster. The day we shot is the day I made the poster and posted it. I posted it like around 6 by 8. It was on every student's status. And I was like, yo, what is happening? And people were sending it to me, asking me, are you the one who has made this? And there are people who knew that I was in film and so on, but they hadn't seen anything I'd made. Like that was Sunday. Monday goes on. Students continue to share, and these are students from all over, all campuses. And by then I wasn't a student, but like I saw some professor post it on LinkedIn. Then Campus B. I was like, this is the time to release the trailer. Then I released the trailer. Oh my goodness. Everyone was jumping on the trailer. And this is a person who has been getting 10 views. I put a video on YouTube and I'm having 1K within 3 days. 1K views for that trailer. I was like, oh God. Then I started to get scared because I knew what I had shot. I knew the challenges. I was like, this film, people are waiting, but I'm the biggest critic of my work.
Yeah, so I still want to hang around this short film, and I know people will be wondering. You guys haven't even mentioned the title of this, but I think even it's in that direction that I want to still stay around this short film. Why did you really go direct with the titling, first of all? And then also, do you think it was only maybe about the story that this short film was really bringing that gave you the attention that really it got? Or would you attribute the success of this short film to
Yeah, so
something
first I would
else?
say the titling of the film. As I said, like titles give me a hard time. But I do marketing. I do digital marketing as my full-time job. Film is my hobby. So I always joke and tell people, you people are excited about something I do in my free time. Film is my hobby. The job that pays my bills
Yeah.
is digital marketing. So I know how to market. I will tell you that. And I think through titles I give films. Why did you give me 49? Tell me that's a film you want to watch if you've gone to campus. Like me, I knew that this film is selling because of the title, and this is something I like creating films people can connect with. If you've been to school, you can connect with the pain of failing by just 1 mark. Even if it is primary, even if someone stopped in primary, there was that pain of you getting 39 when the pass mark is 40. Everyone knows the pain, and on average, every Ugandan has at least stepped to school. So I felt like that would be something that is very relatable. And indeed, it is. Until now, many people tell me it's their favorite film. However much to me, it's not my favorite. Yes.
Yeah, so I was actually like just trying to ask you. You have mentioned that full time what you do is digital marketing, and also we do know that maybe like from my own personal, uh, I'm the one verifying this statement. I would quote unquote say you are one of the rising filmmakers in the country right now. But how does how does being a digital marketeer and being a filmmaker or producer, how do you find a sense of storytelling in these two things? Or how do you use digital marketing as a skill to become a better storyteller using films?
Yeah. So the reason that's why I get hired as a digital marketeer, is because I know how to to do film, to do visuals that can tell a story. That is one reason. Because I've not studied it in school, I've learned it on job as well. That's why I get hired. And some of these things just become part of you. If you start making film, you start putting into consideration a lot of things that become part of you. Like even if it's just a post, it should tell a story. Even if it's a title, it should tell a story. So I realized when you tell stories, people connect to them. I'll tell you this: Apple does not sell phones and computers; they sell innovation. Coca-Cola does not sell the Coke, the, the soda. Coca-Cola sells happiness. That's why all their adverts, they advertise happiness, family time, and so on. So that is one thing you have to know as a person. So I realized if you sell a story to people, they will buy it. The product will have meaning and value. You click. the reason that's why we die to get Apple products is because we know these guys keep innovating. If there is a new feature, if iPhone has a feature, then it is confirmed and it's nice. It's nice innovation because that's what they are selling us. There are very many phones that have higher capabilities than iPhone, but we end up choosing the iPhone. We click because they are selling innovation. They are selling a story. So that's how I become a digital marketer. I know how to sell stories. I know how to tell a story. And when I tell a story, I want people to understand the story and I want them to connect to the story as well. Of anything that you give me to market, I first look for that story that people can buy. If your product doesn't have a story, people are not buying it. If you're not selling a feeling, people are not buying whatever you're selling, however nice it might be. If you look at all those products that have made it, they have a story. They have a story. Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, any Nike, Ferrari, Ford. If you go and make research, they're selling your story. Mercedes Benz, they all have a story. And that's why they're even expensive. So I think what makes a filmmaker a better filmmaker is how they tell their stories. You can make dope stuff. There are people who make dope stuff. They take dope shots. They have crazy edits, but people don't enjoy. They can't even. People can't enjoy what they are doing because it is just dope. It doesn't tell a story. If your stuff tells a story, people will love it, and I know you know that as well. Yeah.
So I want to say like there is connecting to your recent short film, an award-winning short film,
Yes.
and something that I've had an opportunity to sit down with one friend and we watched the short film together, and I kind of had a conversation with him. I told like I think A One Kavuma is somebody who is finding himself as a ghetto messiah, if I would say, because of these stories, either from your music videos, from your short films, how you have been able to depict things that are happening in the ghetto, and with what you have done, this award-winning short film, would you say you have a specific dedication of storytelling style, or maybe do you intend to use filmmaking as an art that kind of projects a specific area of concern that you have as a person?
Yeah. So it's funny, but I would say I'm not so much of a ghetto boy. By the way, I'm a corporate. Though
Disclaimer, I
I
didn't say you're a ghetto boy.
yeah, though I feel happy when people associate me with ghetto. I've got a chance to grow in to be in the ghetto. I've rented in the ghetto, like where I shot my first short film. Why did you give me 49? That's where I stayed around. Like it's like I moved out of home and shot around. And if you look closely, some locations I used for that film are in Boy from Kampala. We just flipped and used the other side. If you go back and look closely, you will see some locations that exact locations, but we flipped and used the other side. Did you notice that?
I honestly didn't.
Go back and watch. Go back and watch. So I would say I want to create films that are in the boundaries of things that I can imagine, and I bring reality to. I don't know if you get me. Like it's fiction, but when you were a kid and watched John Rambo, you had this sense that he's doing that for real.
Yes.
So however much this is fiction, and I always tell my guys, man, this is fiction. Let's do. I want to bring some sense of it's real, and how I can do that is where and when it happens. If I put it in the ghetto, and if I put it in the ghetto and someone is snatching a phone and running, it makes sense. Then when I put that like in a corporate space, it won't make sense. So when and where stuff is happening makes sense and brings some sense of it is happening for real. Like the first film did not happen in the ghetto. Boy from camp. Why did you mean 49? But when you see it happening in the environment is campus, the world is campus, it makes sense in a way, and somehow looks real to you. It's at a time you'd be like, oh, this is just a film, but it brings that sense of it's a bit real. I I would say I, there is when people talk about Uganda, there is a way they sell it out, and there are portions they leave out. But these portions they leave out are actually important. Things like ghetto life, how people live, food, and so on. Uh, Most of the times when you search about Uganda, all you see is wild animals, you see our nature, you see lakes, rivers, mountains, and you see people in the villages. So, at a point, I think people who have never come to Uganda think all Ugandans stay in the village, which is which is a bad perception. There are Ugandans in town that are living a life. And one of the things I want to do going forward is if I get a budget, I want to create a film that shows both village and town as well. I would like to create a film where someone comes from village and gets to town. The people that have told Ugandan stories have been foreigners for so long. Not actually Ugandan stories only, but African stories have been foreigners. And they tell them from their perspective. But we need people who can tell stories from our perspective. There is an ad I saw for soap, and I think it was shot in Kenya. But this during the ad, it was, it had Africans. Someone was bathing and they were applying soap onto their skin, and to me that doesn't make sense because in Africa we put soap on the sponge, then it is the sponge that scrubs the body.
Yes.
So if you using soap on your skin, that is not our thing. Like we can't connect to it when you when we see you bathing like that. We assume you are not clean enough. So I think it makes sense to you.
Yeah.
That's why when I go to make a Ugandan story, a story I've thought of, and when I'm thinking about a story, I don't sleep. Even when I go to do something else, I'm thinking about this story. I think about all these details and how close it is going, how Ugandan it's going to be. I have I have even learned to appreciate the use of local language in Uganda. The boy from Kampala is full of Uganda because I have watched Chinese films in Chinese. So it's not on me the make of the film to translate it for you. I will put for you subtitles or even not put for you. If need arises, we shall translate the film. I want this to be authentic to a Ugandan first. If Ugandans approve this is authentic enough to be Ugandan, then foreigners will take it. But if as Africans or as Ugandans we feel like this is not authentic enough to be Ugandan, then I don't think it will be nice for foreigners as well. And one of the question you've asked me, someone else asked it when I was at National Theatre, and they were asking how I was able to incorporate these multiple locations to make them look seamless and look like one location, and how I was able to light the whole film. And I was like, yo, I shot this thing on two cameras, two different brands of cameras. I shot on the Red Scarlet and I also shot on the Sony. And for the action shots, I shot on the Sony because I needed a small weight camera. For the other shots, I shot on the Red. And I discovered when I was working with the Red, like it's a very high dynamic camera. This is the fanciest camera I've worked with. And I have a good talent in lighting with natural light. So I was like, I'm using natural light. So I would expose how I wanted. I had ND filters. I would use those to, because I also felt like natural light would create that authenticity of Uganda. Like when you watch it, you feel like this is Uganda. And I also wanted to give a film a touch of low budget. That film was funded by EU, but I wanted to give it a touch of low budget. Like when you watch it, you feel like it's a low budget film. You can't see the money on screen. Rather, I think you get it. It was all intended. Like I intended it. I wanted to give it a feel of low budget because the story itself shows people that are struggling to make a film. So I wanted you to have that feel throughout the film that even the person that made this film really struggled to make it. And I think to some extent I achieved it. You can tell me.
Yeah, I think you did really like incredible work, and not only just is this story so connecting, I also feel like some of the things that the subject matter you've spoken about in this short film, a boy who is making a short film using a smartphone. I loved some of the conversations that were in this short film, and it relates so closely to some of the procrastination points that creatives have. Only thinking that you need to first have like a high budget to be a storyteller. I think it's like a great one of the great strengths that you have as a creative. Right from all of your short films, you have always spoken closely to an idea that relates, as you say, with the Ugandan first. And it's from this that I would want you to give your mindset on what you think are some of the challenges that you've had when it comes to making films. And I know maybe some of this might relate to resources, but most importantly, how have you been able to navigate towards these challenges to come out as someone who has a short film funded by EU and having the short film win an award?
Yeah, so I would say I face a lot of challenges, and each and every day that passes, more challenges arise. And after that film, more the challenges tripled because now people think I have money, yet I don't. The biggest challenge has been through, first of all, it was people to work with. Before you make a thing, people don't want to work with you. And after you make something, then everyone wants to work with you. But they want to work with you at a fee. So what I did is I made sure I get a good support system. One of the things I did is I first created a great support system. I looked for people that are passionate, people that want to achieve things with me, people that believe in me, people that can endure, and I surrounded myself with those first. And those are the guys that have been in my film. So I even told myself when I got that funding, if I'm making this film, I'm not going to go and hire people. Rather, I'm going to work with my guys, the people I've been working with. And it was a filmmaking competition. So I was like, if we win, we win. If we lose, I've lost with my friends. We shall laugh over this and we'll go. That's what I did. Uh, then the other thing is, over time, I've learned that people don't like listening to excuses. People are interested in results. If I gave excuses throughout, because I've had challenges, I've told you some of the challenges already. I wouldn't be on this podcast with you, but people are interested in results. So I tried so much to do a lot with less. And I think that's my motto this year. I'm trying to do much with less. Uh, that's why people even call me asking me for jobs, and I'm like, they were even calling me at a time when I was looking for a job. And I was like, you guys, myself, I need a job, and you're calling me for a job. You understand? It's because they look at this and it looks so big for them, but then it is something you accomplished in the simplest way possible. And I'm at a stage where I have shot with professional cameras, but I'm at a state where I don't fear making a film on a phone because I know people are interested in the story, not the equipment I used. So you show people something and then you tell them I shot that on phone. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, but no person with it's a few, few people who are not even target audience who ask you which camera or equipment you use. To be honest.
All right, so I wanted us to do some little fun here, play with your mind on how updated you are with some of the things. We'll just have a little bit of a quiz, 5 questions, nothing really textbook answer related. So what we'll do is I'll first ask you answer and then we'll figure out later what your score is.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so for the first question, I guess this is really something that you grab so fast. Uh, which East African country won an Oscar nomination for Best International Feature in Film in the year 2021?
It's not Uganda because I know the person who was allowed to send his film to the Oscars, Maurice Mugisha. So it's definitely not Uganda. I would go Kenya.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
All right. um, then our second question: what is a log line in film?
Log line. So a
Mm-hmm.
log line is a statement that basically talks about what is going to happen in a film, but it is it is way shorter than the synopsis.
Okay. All right. So our third one, this is quite obvious, I guess. What is the standard frame rate uh, for most cinematic films?
It's 24 frames per second, but I prefer shooting at 60 frames per second. Then I turn it to 24.
Okay. All right. So this one, I guess, again, it's something that you might nail. Which Ugandan film won global recognition and starred Lupita Nyong'o?
Oh, that is Queen of Katwe. I was going to say boy from Kampala.
I didn't see Lupita in there, but well, okay. I didn't see Lupita in Boy from Kampala, but
Yeah.
it's fine. So our last question is again. I think this is just something technical. You might really get it. What is the golden hour in filmmaking?
Okay. So the golden hour is that time of the day when the sun is not yet harsh, or when the sun is not harsh. That is like around 10 a.m. Then 3 p.m., 4 p.m. ish, around that time.
Okay, so well, 5 questions. I think really let's try to find out. But I think you've probably all you've always been a smart student, so and also you're a great reader. I think you've nailed most of this stuff. So for our first question, which country won an Oscar nomination? African country that won an Oscar nomination for Best International Feature in 2021. You said Kenya,
Yes.
but so first of all, the film was The Man Who Sold His Skin, and it's I think a Tunisian film.
Oh. Oh.
Yes.
I have no idea about that film.
So yeah, so unfortunately you didn't get that right.
Yes.
But for logline, I think you're really pretty close to it. Well, it's really like a one or two sentence summary that captures entirely what's happening in the film.
Yes.
So you nailed that. Standard, the standard frame rate for most cinematic films, quite obviously it's 24, but also it's great to learn what you love shooting at.
Yeah.
And so you're right with that question as well. Definitely the film that got global recognition that featured Lupita Nyong'o, the Ugandan film is Queen of Katwe. It's a 2016 film. And for our last question, you're absolutely right about the golden hour. So I guess that gives you 4 out of 5. Uh, but it's no surprise. You've always been a smart student. You're a great reader, and you're so updated. But generally, yeah, man, I think I will thank you for making up time for this. It's really, I would say, you're one of the people that I'm paying close attention to when it comes to art in the East African region. I think you're doing very, very incredible work. Uh, I look forward to what journey that you have ahead. But I would like to kind of get done with this. If you could give us a little, just a sneak peek of what's coming from Slim Snaps. What are you cooking? What's in the kitchen? What should we anticipate? Then, how can we just generally reach out to you if we want to watch some of your great work, or even if someone really wants to give you some work?
So I would say a lot is supposed to come from Slim Snaps, but that means I should get a lot of free time because I don't want to be the broke creative. I don't want to burn out. I want to make film after I have money, because it's nice when I'm doing it as a hobby than when I'm doing it as a job, I would say. Then to see Slim Snap's work, it's on, for now it's on YouTube. Until when I make a feature or I make a film where I feel like I should make a lot of money out of, stuff is going to be on YouTube, I would say. I really feel like it's better for Ugandans to first have access to my content, to Slim Snap's content, to love it, to connect with it, such that if a time ever comes and they have to buy it, they are willing to pay. And whatever figure I might put up to watch it. So I'm also, it's on YouTube. You just put in Slim Snaps. And I'm going to keep making films, I would say. I would say as well. And I feel happy when you guys told me that you like my work. I never thought 100 people will ever watch my films. I never thought I would be anywhere with film, but I'm super grateful. And I would say, if people aren't watching my stuff, I wouldn't be making films now. Because it's after people watching that I become a real filmmaker.
I just really would want to thank you for coming through for the episode. I think your story is an incredible story. I love the work that you're doing, being a storyteller. I love the way that you spotlight not easily reached out areas when it comes to filmmaking. I think everyone is probably not bold enough to tell some certain stories using the lens, and you're doing really great work. We're checking you out. We are hooked up, and definitely anytime you announce that you have anything coming up, be assured that we'll be resting on the channel waiting. But otherwise, I really thank you, and we look forward to so much of filmmaking coming through from Slim Snaps. And yeah, I definitely want to wish you all the best for the next upcoming projects as well.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I thank everyone that has supported me, people that have watched my stuff, and I pray we improve from where we are. There are a lot of things we still need to work on, but I believe that's not how we started. When I look at our first film and the last film we made, the difference is there. So when you guys are telling me that my recent film is Boy from Kampala, I'm scared because I did that last year in around March. Actually, the data is more recent than the Boy from Kampala. Just that I was not supposed to share it to the public until when I shared it. So when you tell me your recent film, my mind runs to the data than the Boy from Kampala. And the same way you guys have watched the Boy from Kampala, I would urge you to go and watch the data. because for me, it's a project. It's a real A One Kavuma project, a project I ripped from my heart, a project that is filled with, like when you hear the dialogue, you can hear a bit of me talk, like the jokes, the unseriousness in serious, in being serious, is in that film. And I think for people who know me, when they watch that, you can, from the word go, you tell this is Kavuma now. So the same way you tell this is Kavuma when you watch The Boy from Kampala, it's the same way you tell when you watch the data. So I want people to go and watch it because I feel like it is so underrated. It's one of my films that are really underrated. Yes, I've seen people watch Threesome a lot. I didn't expect people to watch it. That because it's that film that had a lot of problems, and I was this close to not releasing it. But when I released it, I'm surprised. When you can look at the views, it sits in second position from The Boy from Kampala. Now, as of now, because I'm from checking. Yeah, but I feel like the data also needs recognition, and on a platform like this, I know when someone watches and I mention it, when they can watch it on a deeper level, there are times you listen to music or watch film on a deeper level rather than for entertainment. You can understand what I'm talking about. Yes, but thank you,
Yeah.
and I'll thank you as well. You are one of the people that have really kept me going. You've pushed me. You've told me, bro, you are good. Just that me, when I look at myself, I don't see the goodness. I'm always dissing my work day in day out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that way, I guess. But yeah, man, it's been incredible, and I really look forward to so much of your work coming through.
Yeah. Thanks, man.